behind you. Come here. One time, come in. When? This way. I need you. We need that. Yeah. Yeah. Missionary. That's the missionary.
What's that? You got email in your pocket? You have a copy of your email?
No, yeah.
But you got it?
You have to give me back.
You see what
Oh, well, then.
you have an email?
I just keep them for this.
It's around here somewhere.
Where?
I have one in my package.
Mr. Rush, have an email copy from this one?
Email copy from this one.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
And she wouldn't be here, she had a doctor appointment in
Yes.
October 2013.
Okay.
Could you read it for us when you're
October?
October? 9 months ago, she addressed you.
No, I don't say that.
How many notes am I saying?
I don't say that. I haven't read it.
Oh, well,
I read it. I didn't read it.
this one, read it for us. You read it for us or one for me?
Wait. No, we have a quorum. We have a quorum?
You have a quorum?
Put in that forum.
Okay.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Diane, is it? Good morning, all. I've been requested by Ms. Wells, in the absence of herself, and Ms. Tony Moorhead to chair this meeting that continues as a result of the recess from our May 19, 2014 meeting. Mr. Williams, can you act as secretary, please?
Point of information.
Yeah.
You say this contribution. This is an agenda for
Well,
consideration.
I see that the revised official agenda. Well, I don't know about the regularly scheduled meeting. I thought, in fact, that we recessed our meeting last time.
And we agree, but my point is that if that's what we will continue based on what we recess, this agenda is totally out of order. We haven't made any determination.
Well, at least get a quorum and then we make the decision as to what we're going to do.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Lawrence Bishotti. Absent. Harry Daniels. Present. Vice President Paulie Georges. Absent. Lily Hendricks. Absent. Donna Marsh Monsanto. Arturo Washington.
Present.
Alicia Wells. Absent. Liliana Belardo de O'Neill. Present. Adele Bryan.
Very good, sir.
Lisa Harris Moorhead. Absent. Roland Molinar. Absent. Robert W. Ross. Glenn Webster.
Yeah, right.
Kevin Williams present. Mr. Chair, 8 present. 6 absent.
I think we have a quorum at 10:33 a.m. Before we go further, we want to, in fact, acknowledge for the record our election system members and an attorney. We have Ms. Genevieve Whitaker, we have Ms. Nefa Bezia Barbell, and Attorney Kim Salisbury, the Attorney General's office.
Point of order.
Yes, sir.
Look at some. To my understanding, on the 19th of May, we arranged the agenda, put the Attorney General's investigation behind what we arranged.
Right.
he did not complete, and there was discussion that, among other things, that we have to reconvene the same special meeting
Correct.
before June 3rd.
Correct.
The date was set to...
No, hold on. Before June 13th.
Before June 13th.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
In any event, she said the meeting will be called the same continuation on the 28th of the month, which is May.
Correct.
When the 28th of the month, before it came, we got notices that the meeting was cancelled for some other stuff
Whatever reason,
not
yes.
mentioned.
Right.
Then it was moved to the 2nd of June.
Correct.
When the time came again, it was cancelled again, no it's a revised agenda. This revised official agenda, an agenda for the monthly meeting or the quarterly meeting, but this is supposed to be a revised agenda to include the thing that we didn't finish on the 29th, sorry, the 19th, 28th, and 2nd. So what is it we want to say?
It is my understanding, notwithstanding the revised official agenda that's here, which was prepared by the supervisor, that this was supposed to be a continuation meeting. We were supposed to continue what we didn't finish before June 13th. And today is, I believe, June 12th, one day before June 13th.
Yes, sir.
So I would assume, and I believe that in fact it is a continuation meeting, and we need to...
Have a motion on it, sir?
Well, let me finish first. And so I believe that we need to go back to where we were, and in fact, and deal with what we in fact intended to deal with before June 13th. One of the items that was left off, or we did not address, or was not on the May 19th agenda, was the approval of the ballot. And of course, you know that the ballot, especially the federal ballot, supposed to be ready to be mailed out on June 17th. The districts will have to approve their district ballots, but I think we have to approve the gubernatorial and the territorial ballots, which consist of the gubernatorial ballot and the federal ballot, which is the race for delegate for the primary.
So,
Okay. Yes, sir.
So the motion would be, if this is in fact a continuation of the meeting away from the details, item E should be removed from this agenda if we have the complete obviously.
That's the motion.
Yes, because
Okay. It's been properly moved.
I don't understand the motion.
His motion is to remove new business from the agenda.
what's that, let's go.
And it's no second.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's
Is what, anybody, any other motion?
I have a question, Mr. Moore.
Question.
You mentioned earlier the approval of the ballot for the benefit of the voters. Are they available, or are we going to work at them today?
Yes, well,
Since they are not in the
well,
we have to...
remember that was not on the agenda.
Previous, no.
That was not on the previous agenda. So we'll have to have a motion to have that placed on the agenda. And I would suggest that we, if I can, suggest that be item, what you know, item C on this agenda, that be item, at least we defer the discussion on the ballot until the supervisor is here to give her input as to what she has put together, design, and the reasons therefore.
motion.
Is there any reason why she's not here with us?
She left to go to the office to take care of something and to be right back.
So when you said I can see you talking about unfinished
Motion.
business...
No.
Motion.
Yeah, okay. He has a motion on the floor.
Okay, but you mentioned about item C.
No. We have under unfinished business, we have A, B, and C,
Okay.
which should not be, once you have a...
Motion.
Go ahead, motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to reorder the agenda under item D, which is A and B. My motion is to reorder item A to become item B, and item B to become item A. So moved.
Any second? I will second it.
Yes?
Yep. I
Yes,
second.
sir.
Okay, roll call.
I have a question, please.
Question.
And the term is aware of the motion is to substitute item A.
Make A B, switch A and B, that's the
So
motion.
is it that we're saying that D is actually the sacobalance as opposed to that we waited for the saxophone matter? That's what you want to skip it?
In essence.
Yes. Until she's there, she needs to explain what she has done.
It was one in the record.
Okay. You withdraw your objection?
No, you wanted to register.
Okay.
Keep it like that.
All right. Roll call?
Lawrence Machete, absent. Harry Daniels. Claudia Georges, absent. Lydia Hendricks, absent. Wilma Marsh Monsanto.
Yes.
Arturo Watterton.
Yes.
Alicia Wells, absent. Liliana Delado, Leonie.
I'm voting.
I'm voting. And Albert Ryan.
No.
Lisa Harris Moorhead, absent. Roland Marliner, absent. Rupert Ross.
Yeah.
Glenn Webster.
Yes.
Raymond Williams, yes. Mr. Chair, 5 yes. 1 no, 2 not vote.
Okay, the motion is passed. We go back to where we were. Election 2000 process, 2014 process.
Can we recess for a minute, please, because I can't see your calendars.
Okay, we recess for 5 minutes.
This is just for the thing, but
You have no motion?
no
Yeah,
motion.
I'm it below.
Underneath.
Right, sure.
Oh,
Here, no.
Well, I just give me 1 minute to remind the last one.
So recess for 5 minutes, right?
5 minutes. Okay.
Give us some additional guidance here.
So we're going to get to the okay?
Yeah.
How many last week by this
Well,
one?
I don't do it.
Where will we? Huh?
You didn't introduce when you introduced staff.
Oh, I missed him. I'll go back on the record to Ms. Fox and I know anyway.
Okay.
Thank you, Sergeant. Appreciate it.
I just want to move our lane, so it's going good.
Thank you, Sergeant. You've been good order. Okay, our 5 minutes is up. Back on the record. Before I do anything else, let me do 2 other things that I neglected to do for the record. We're back on the record at 10:42. Miss Caroline Fox, Mrs. Caroline Fox, our supervisor of the election, is now present. I neglected to acknowledge the presence of our administrative assistant from St. Thomas, Mr. Angel Bunquez. In addition, I want to note for the record that we have 2, 4, 6, 8 members of the public and a member of the illustrious press that's here. Two, I'm sorry. So 7 members of the voting public and 2 members of the press. I want to read into the record an email from Ms. Alicia Wells to all members through Ms. Caroline Fox. Subject, joint board meeting. Good day all. I have put off from October 2013 medical attention. I must honor an appointment hence and will be unable to attend in person the joint board meeting scheduled for June 12, 2014 at 10 a.m. at the Cardiac Center, the Wang Louis Hospital on St. Croix. I have asked members Moorhead and Watlington as Vice Chair and Secretary to conduct the meeting. Member Ross will be there to offer his expertise as needed. I trust that the meeting will be fruitful. I shall attempt to call in sometime after 10 a.m. Mr. Alexandri, please see to it that a copy of this email is faxed to Member Brian. That's from Ms. Alicia Wells. Need a copy? Okay, so we're into the election 2014 process, policies and procedures. We left off after the item that was the absentee procedures. We passed and said it shall be the same as the past. But I'd like to ask the members of this board to have a short discussion on the walk-in procedure. Because even though we said it would be the same process, I think that we may want to rethink our position in terms of the security of. I think we need to rethink when we say the walk-in procedure. If a voter walks in to vote by absentee means, are we saying then, as we did, we said it would be as the past, would we then accept the absentee ballot, secure it in a lock and a secured place, and count it after the election? Mr. Williams.
Just to learn to that conversation, in my mind anyway, and how I envision the process working, unlike in the past where absentee walk-in voting took place, where people came in during a period of time prior to the election, up to and before election day, they cast a ballot on paper and they sealed it in an envelope or 2 or 3. It was placed in a ballot box, and that box wasn't open until we started, well, I said anyway, until we started counting absentee ballots. With the new voting systems that we have, I foresee that the process that probably should be utilized is that once that process is open and allowed in the office, because I think we have already determined that the process will only take place in the election offices, that the ballots, the same way we do it on election day, is the same process we'll utilize for the walk-in process. So once you come in, you cast your ballot, that ballot drops down into the bin. It is recorded and tabulated on the same jump drive. So I'm thinking that from the beginning of the process to the last day of the process, in terms of security, I think we need to be able to lock the voting machines using both, as we did in the past, using the key locks that are designed on the machines and putting tags on it. So every day, 2 board members at least from each district or more, how much ever you want to construe, will have to come to the office by a certain time to open and record the tag that was placed on the day before, remove it, and open the polls again for that day. It continues through the process. You don't close the polls. Let's get that clear. You don't close the polls. You just close the system now, shut down the system. You open it so the running number doesn't change. It continues to run from 1 to the last person that votes on the day before, or the day that we determine to be the last day for walk-in. So in terms of what you're saying of locking the ballots, I think the ballots will generally do as the process, as the machine does now. It falls down into the ballot box. I think that in itself is a simpler process. I think what becomes a concern is what we discussed about spoiled ballots or overvoted ballots, but that's another issue. That process is what I think we need to clarify. So what I would recommend to handle the security issue is that once we open the poll for walk-in absentee, once we determine that period, that be a continuous process. You don't unlike what we did in the past, this is a new voting system, so that one machine is dedicated for that purpose only. I don't know if we want to allow the use of more than one machine, so I'm just throwing that all out for conversation. But I think in the bottom line is that if we determine to use 1, 2, or 10 machines for walk-in, that whatever number we use, we don't close the polls, and that all we do is secure the machine until the next day, as I explained, and then we reopen it until we close it out. And the tabulation of those walk-ins take place just like we've done in the past. At the same time, we're doing the tabulation for the general, or in this case, the primary elections.
Brad?
Are we in agreement that you're considering a walk-in person to vote the same as an absentee voter?
A walk-in, the only way a walk-in, the only way you can vote prior to August 2nd and November 4th, I believe, would be by absentee process. So a walk-in person is someone who has made an application and has been approved to vote.
So everybody understand that what you just said?
I don't know, I can't say
Oh, I
everybody
just
understand.
want to answer the question. Because I'm hearing in the past and that was something different in the system. Now, if in fact a DS200 and on the mark machine and at least 5 voting stations to be placed in the election office, I can't think in terms of the set up better than that in the same Court office. If we set rules to allow absentee and walk-in voters to begin at a particular time, then the day of the election and throughout the election, people can still walk in and vote walk-in, because when we adopt a policy under the statute of absentee voting, mean that they will be in the cold line. So if you have 5 or 6 stations in the voting election office, along with a DS200 or an automatic machine, then people can, in fact, do what we agree on and walk in absentee ballot maybe 2 weeks before the primary. They get to vote the ballot to address their party, because the primary means Democrat, Republican, ISIM, right? That same DS200 machine and the automatic would read the ballots are calling from the candidates that they have for those parties. So I don't see a problem if I don't walk in absentee 2 weeks before the primary, because each party voter will have a party ballot. So voter is inserted, and that same machine count can be finalized the same night after the close of poll, because in fact they are voting only, if you want to use the word only, walk-in absentee, doing the same thing. I don't subscribe to taking those ballots and put them in Norway and opening them and locking back another day. That machine, as we know it, once the ballot goes into the box, there's a key, there's seals that can put on the doors to the ballot box, right? There's a seal that can close the top, so nobody cannot close it. And whoever is there is for the election, the members of the board who are signed there will be the one keeping a record of each of those tabs. Each day that they open, those things that must be accomplished for a colony, except that you don't need to be in the bottom where the ballots are. When you have election days closed and primary, that is when I guess you want to close and finally seal that box in the DS200 and deal with the tape and it comes off of the machine. So that last time somebody mentioned they will use the name of the jump drive as the official count. So the jump drive will remain the same count all the time, and the ballot will remain to the bottom sealed all the time until the polls are closed and finally sealed on that night, and we rely on information from the drum drive for Democrat, Republican, and ICM primary, except if we go to the general. The same principle can apply, because at the top of the DS200, they have a shelf, a door, absentee, only voters, walk-in voters, and absentee voters. If a ballot is spoiled, because I think the policy will be the same for spoiled ballots, you still have the opportunity to spoil 1 or 2 or 3 or something like that, and you can insert them in that system. They can also that. So I don't think we need to be closing and opening every day to give people the impression we are already in this battle for the process is done.
Well, don't clarification.
I just want to make sure that.
Well, and not, this is not to you, I hear what you're saying exactly. I think you're confused. What? Listen to me, listen to me.
I'm not confused.
Well, you want to listen? You want to listen?
Nothing for me, that's your problem.
But I'm asking, are you going to listen? One member, Brian, he said exactly what I said. The only difference that I said is to secure for security purposes, is to close the machine, the DS200 down and lock it. That's the only thing that he was saying different. Okay? And you added the fact that for a spoil ballot, it can go into the top end. And I totally concur to that.
You can't put that in there.
Right, you can't put that in. But my point with security is that overarching cover on the DS200 to close that and lock it and seal it. You follow me?
Yeah.
That's all I'm recommending. Not to change anything outside that. Just to lock it.
For me, Mr. President.
Let me answer. Give me a minute. Give me a question. Ms. Fox, have you had any discussions with ES&S or any of the locals, specifically, I know you've been in contact with Jacksonville, Florida, in regards to their absentee walk-in process and the experience with the DS200, how they have conducted the election?
I will verify the closing and opening, but the absentee process with a separate machine that's similar to what they use. They kind of talk a lot more about early voting, which is what people talk about, they will talk about taking the ballots out daily. But the absentee process is the same as Mr. Williams just described.
To the chair, you said daily they remove the ballots.
For early voting.
Yeah.
Early voting, because they're saying they got thousands and millions of people.
Right,
And so if you want to find out an error on a certain day, you don't want to have to go through 4 days of work. I want to find out John Joe voted on the 12th and had a problem on the 12th. So I'm saying their population drives some of their policies that
Correct.
really would not apply here.
Correct.
I mean, the bin could hold 1,500 ballots.
Right.
So if their bin full up, they're going to have to put in another bin anyway. So I'm saying they have process for early voting where you deal with it every day, but the absentee is similar to what you said. It goes in one machine. My question was that, are we going to put a machine in St. John? So that's something that
Okay.
you don't want St. John said if this is franchise to come to St. Thomas to vote.
Well, it's
So I need some board members and I'll get up there and verify 2 or 3.
I have a problem with what has been said, because we passed a resolution last time, basically saying the absentee process would proceed the same way as in the past. If that is what we adopted, what Mr. Williams and Mr. Bryan is suggesting here today is different from what we have adopted at our last meeting. Let me say that I visited a jurisdiction that does not conduct early voting. The only way you vote early is by absentee. They have a primary that is scheduled for the 24th of this month. They have already received the absentee ballots. They have already sent out and absentee ballots are already being received. Those ballots are not counted and will not be counted until election night or the day after. We in the Virgin Islands are still mandated to wait 10 days, up to 10 days after the election before we can count every absentee ballot, up to 10.
That's me.
With absentee ballot. I'm not making a distinction between, at this point, between mail or walk-in. I am not taking the distinction now. The absentee, yes, absentee do have various categories. Somebody who appears in person and somebody who mails in. Their process in New York City is to secure the ballots and not utilize the machine in the office. And I personally, and I think we need to think about it seriously, I cannot support utilizing the machine in the office after I thought about it for a number of days and a number of weeks, because that would require someone to be there for that 8-hour period, because you would have said now that your election has begun and you've started tabulating votes. You have already, then you are saying you are tabulating votes from that day. And we run a risk when you're talking about turning off the machine after today, after you've taken 10 votes, you turn off the machine and then you turn it back on the next day and you count other ballots and you continue that process for I don't know how long a process, because theoretically our absentee process can begin next week. Theoretically, correct? After we test the machines to make sure that the machines are all operative, or at least that machine, but before we are, and you don't want to do that until in fact each machine is tested, and we have a day set aside for testing the machines, which means you have to test each machine with each person on each ballot to make sure it is working. So I think that we need to be very careful in terms of understanding, once you turn on the machine to start tabulating, that you have started your election on that day, because you started to count votes, rather than in fact rather than having or knowing that you have ballots, uncounted ballots, which you may have received, but it would not be tabulated, counted votes. And I don't believe any jurisdiction, and we can verify. I think we need to, but I don't know of any jurisdiction which actually counts the vote unless it's by early voting, because we do not have early voting. And if we start counting votes, we have adopted early voting. So I caution you.
Question, Mr. Williams.
Mr. Williams and Mr.
I appreciate your sentiments, but I'm not the technical expert on the new voting system we have, but to my knowledge of what I'm aware of, you use the term counted votes. You don't tabulate votes until you remove the jump drive from the machine and insert it into a tabulator. The votes are recorded. That's the more accurate word. They're recorded on the system, but they're not counted. So please don't. I might be wrong about that.
Counted on the system. It's just not reported.
It's not. It's recorded on the DS200, but until it's put into that central SCU to be for the information to be transferred, it is not tabulated. So please don't let us keep it with this section.
I understand what you're saying. I totally disagree with you.
Well, but I just wanted to say.
No problem.
And secondly, the thought in my comment, what I said, I never said anything about shutting. I said we open the poll at the beginning and we close the poll at the last day. What I heard explained was in your part was that we'll be closing the polls every day and counting. That is not what I said. I said we open the poll. I said we close the cover of the machine to secure the machine each day. So you don't move, you don't change, you don't transcribe, you don't do anything to the machine, the DS200, other than close, seal, lock that machine down. Okay, and then the process I described is to have one or two, at least 2 board members in addition to whether or not we choose to hire, let's say an election official to work through that process for the week or 2 that will determine as walk-in absentee voting to be there every single day for the whole whatever period of time, 12 hours a day, 8 hours a day, whatever we determine. But the long and short is that you're not tabulating any votes, you're recording, the vote is recorded, because as soon as you insert your ballot into the tabulator, it's scanned.
It's tabulated.
Okay, I'm not going to do it because I want to move.
It's counted. But I'm just saying, and I think, I'm asking you to just be cautious with what you're saying, because you then you have then moved from absentee voting to early voting, to voting, to allowing people to vote before vote, and their vote is tabulated but recorded but not reported on a machine that sits during that process. And I don't see, I would just ask, maybe we should defer at least for a few days, because we still got some time, and get some more expertise in terms of the jurisdictions which are similarly situated like us. Because Jacksonville allows for early voting. New York does not allow for early voting. Thus, they do not allow anything to go in to be tabulated. Those absentee votes are not tabulated, recorded, nor reported, because you are not authorized by law to do so until the day of election. So I'm just, yes, I'm sorry, Mr. Brian was next on that.
You know, we got a lot of awards for some different means. On election day, who runs the election? Board of Elections, correct? So therefore, once we allow a person to have an absentee ballot in the island, being held in correction, or even in the military, they have already started the process of allowing people to have access to the system. So then, the DS200 and the automatic machine have backup electricity, even currently was out to maintain information. If you turn up the DS200 today, it doesn't lose any trunk in the memory pad. Again, you could turn it on tomorrow, and you're going to go right back when you stop tabulating or counting or registering. The company don't change the card, the machine turn off. Until you clear the information off the machine and tape, you will do nothing to the system. If you have an absentee person voting absentee, that means the word all you want to want all in before. If we can adopt policies for absentee voting and walk-in voting, then the voting and casting the vote only, you can call it one, but that's what you're doing before the election. And if another state have it, and Jacksonville or Florida State in here have a different function, this board can adopt their own policy to accommodate the people with the machine that we want to use. You don't want anybody to turn on a DS200, because we have 7 members on the board, 2 members can be there, or wherever, along with the staff in the building. The machine is not outside in the street, it's inside the building. The building that the board of election and the system is secured has a code, they have a security code, right? And they can see who's in there when they come in. I don't know the game, I don't know if they're around, so anybody else have a copy to get in there. So only employees of the system have access to the building, right? So then, if the machines are in there, closed with a cabinet for absentee voting, which is still coming in, all you walking in, if this board wants to establish the policy to accommodate it, it's always going to establish. But we can't worry and get concerned because we are saying one thing, just to say something. You want
Motion.
You have a conversation?
Yes, Madam Belado.
Mr. Chair, I would like to move a motion in order to safeguard the integrity of the system. I move that we allow people to vote, whether you want to call it absentee or early voting or walk-in, but that their ballot be secure in the box with locks and not open the box until 10 days after the election, which is mandated by law. I so moved.
Second. Objection. Okay. Been properly moved and seconded. I'll give, wait, hold on. I'll give 2 minutes to each objector to state the objection, and 4 minutes to the proponent.
Oh, I think it's from you.
You know, and give 2 minutes to the objectors, and 2 minutes to the objectors each, and 4 minutes to the proponent if she so chooses.
I resolve to give up Mr. Lewis.
Huh? I got it.
You want to
I have the time. I got it.
My objection is, I don't object to the motion, I just wanted to clarify that when you say lock the machine, I mean lock the...
Not the machines, the box.
So yeah, when you say lock
Ballots.
when you say lock the box, you're talking about taking it out and closing it and locking it?
No.
Okay.
I'm not talking about the machine
Not the blue
per
box.
se. I'm saying right now, in prior election, we have a box in the office. People put in the ballot there, and then you count them later. I think, and my motion is that I believe that in previous election, we have had too many people accusing this board of fraud, of all kinds of things, and in order to secure those ballots, we should put them in the box, not in the machine, secure them with lock, and then open them 10 days as mandated by law, without using the machines. Because if you would tell me that you're going to use the DS-200, and you're going to have 2 members of the board there, which one of us are going to be there every day? Because some of us are not showing up for the meeting, some are not coming in, so you're going to be having 2 people of the same, probably the same people every day. Second, closing and opening, I understand what you're saying, but the people are there. Are they understanding what are we doing every day, opening and closing? What is there to say that some of those people say, oh, they're opening the back, they're putting in ballots? Even though that's not our intention, but that's the people's perception. So this is why I'm saying to allow the people not to have the perception that we are putting in ballot by opening the machine every day and closing it. We should go to the simple method of...
Hold on. Madam Bellardo, you use 1 minute and 50 seconds of your 4 minutes. You only use 10 seconds. Mr. Brian.
Hey, you know, so things think that's a joke, you know.
Don't joke. We was going with 8 minutes and we moving on.
Why can't I get the commitment?
No, well, you got 2 minutes.
I can use my time or one.
Yes,
Good.
2 minutes.
Now, what box are we speaking about in putting these ballots? That's the first question. Now, you must understand, the independent paper trail box, you can't put nothing in there when the box is closed. It only opens when you're using the DS-200. So you're suggesting we have a separate ballot box to put these absentee ballots in to come 10 days after the election. What kind of box you're going to use and who's going to secure them under what condition? Do we have available extra ballot boxes, Mrs. Scott? Because you have to have a way to get it in there. It's locked. That box can only open and close during the use of the DS-200. So in order to put the ballot in a separate ballot box, it has to be a ballot box other than the one in the DS-200. And it has to be able to have a slot to put the ballot in there. So you still have to take those ballots out. You have to count them. You have to read the information, but nobody can take them ballots and count them one unless it's a challenge, you know. So you have to be able to put them same ballot that you put in a separate ballot box in the presence of individuals or candidates, so they can see that I taking on all of them 10 days later to put them in a reader. To have you already voted to make the drum drive, the official counter of the election. You know. So I hope you know how to put them to be read and go on the drum drive. That's the process of what I first.
Okay.
So I don't want more time. I finished.
You give back your time.
Yeah.
Member Bellardo, you have a minute.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, through the chair, I would like to ask the supervisor, and I know that she's new, but I know that she's seen that box. In the past election, you have a wooden box, right?
Did you finish? She finished your
No,
question.
I'm asking
You finished?
a question.
That's it?
No, but I mean.
But finish that. Why you ask a question?
Because it seems that there's a confusion here because we keep saying the box of the DS200, the top box. I am completely talking about separation, having a separate box where you can put these things out, not in the machine, not on the top shelf or on the bottom shelf, but have them separate. And if it takes us 2 nights and 2 days to count them after the 10 days, that's what we were elected for. But I am not in favor of having that machine opening every day and closing it in the night, because that gives the perception of fraud. So I...
Objection.
Hold on, please. No, hold on, Ms. Monsanto. Hold on, Ms. Monsanto. Ms. Fox,
Again, that's
respond to attorney.
when I put up my hand just now, I was going to explain what Ms. Ballard is speaking about, which is the correct, the wooden boxes that you all utilized in the past. But I will add to that, we are using new systems, and we can't, if we want to change, we need to move forward. If we're going to use 2 systems...
No, wait, hold on.
I'm answering.
She's asking about the box. That's all she was asking about.
The wooden
We have the
box.
boxes.
Yes. But okay.
You want to make a comment? Go ahead.
I just say if we got new systems and we need to be moving ahead, we need to adapt, change some rules already to use the new system.
All right, good.
We
All right,
can't
good,
mix in
okay.
the old box with the new system.
All right, good.
One minute.
That's your
Second.
opinion.
My turn.
Yes.
No,
You
it's
have
supposed to
to
be
be second.
second.
Hold on, Ms. Monsanto. You have a proponent, you have an objector, the objector
I object too.
No, wait, you'll wait.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Member Malaro, I appreciate the conversation. My question to you is, the matter, what you suggesting about confusing the electorate, as I was going to ask, I just want to clarify, the process that I put on the table is just a process, but the ballot boxes, as you have seen, the ballot traffic, what process are you, if you're using that independent poll box that we use before, what process are you using to vote? Are you saying that we're going to use the same process like member, member Wackington described, or are you
What process I just read?
about not using the machine?
I didn't say that. Never said that.
Oh, okay.
I never said that.
Okay.
No.
Okay. But my question to you, what voting process are you recommending? Using the DS200 or using a paper ballot independent? That's my question.
May I? And then I have the conversation. What I understand Member Bellado to say is basic. Yes, I can do it. You need not to be interfering in our meeting, Ms. Moyer. What I understand Ms. Bellado to say is that rather than counting the ballots and counting them through the DS200 the day that the person votes, that those ballots be secured. She suggested they be secured in a locked box and be counted when in fact we normally count absentee ballots. She said 10 days after. Usually we begin the process before 10 days after, sometime after the election, but up to 10 days after the election. And that's what I understand her to say. Not that, and I'm not saying that you don't use the DS200. We still use the DS200. Yes, we still use that machine in the office. What she is saying is the time that you use the DS200 to count the ballot, not on the same day the person cast his vote, but that you secure it and in fact count it thereafter. That's what she is saying.
And if
And that's, am I correct? That's what you're saying, ma'am?
correct, I would like to say that on that day that you decide to open that box and in front of people so that we see it, then if you want to submit them to the machine, then we can do that process. But those ballots should be secure until such time.
Ms. Monsanto, and then any other member who wants to. I'm just 1 minute. 1 minute.
I concur fully with the supervisor of election that indeed it's a new system that we're using, and to go back to the old box system with a lock. We have record of a security breach by those same boxes. We have here, even in the Attorney General's report, you have 3,000 ballots that can be accounted for. Do we want a repeat of the same thing? We have to be very careful how we address the matter of securing ballots in its entirety. I agree, if you're using the machines there, there's a box on top, I think it was demonstrated, that they would go into that particular section of the DS200, and that would be open only by one person, which would be the supervisor who has the key. With the board of election, whatever, anyway, but she said that only one person would have access.
All right, Ms. Montano, the minute is up.
I'm not
No, hold on, the minute is
I'm
up.
not finished. So I am very much, we want to seem to set up the same
All right.
system here,
All right, Mr.
where we
Montano.
will have a breach, because
The
we
minute
have
is up.
had breach
You have a
of
vote.
security.
Wait a minute,
All right, okay, yes, Mr. Bryan. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, in our fairness,
Uh-huh.
could we allow members of the board to express their
But wait, once we be here all day, yeah, you and Mr. Williams objecting, you stated your point. She's repeating your point, she's agreeing with you.
I wish I agree, disagree. We now saying,
I should not even allow them to speak on the issue, because it's before us, we have a vote, there's a second, a vote, a motion. Okay, wait, no, there's a motion on the floor, and that's what we're gonna take. Okay, since you want everybody to speak, Mr. Ross.
I want to amend the motion.
Okay.
How much time he has?
He's making a motion, he's amending the motion.
I want to amend the motion as it relates to reference 10 waiting period.
Yes, sir.
The motion is that the box will be open after the day of the election.
The day after the election.
After the election.
Within the 10-day period.
Well, it has to be
Within the 10-day period.
it has to be within the period allowed by law, but
Is there a second to that motion?
briefly explain. It is to allow the board to act on the tabulating of those ballots after the elections occur, and not having to wait 10 days to do it.
I mean,
Before, hold on, please. Before, it's been moved and properly second. Any objection? Objected? Okay. Roll call on the amendment.
Before we,
Okay, sir.
totally.
Okay. He has moved to amend.
I heard that, but the original, I still need to record the original motion.
you finish your thing?
Wait, hold on. Yes, hold on. Let's get back to the original motion. The original motion is to, in fact, secure all votes that are taken by absentee walk-in in a locked, sealed box. That was the motion. It was now,
And not to open.
and what? And then, no, go ahead. And what?
And not to be open,
Yes.
not open the box until 10 days after
Right.
the day as we
Yeah,
mandated
that was the
law.
motion. Not
That's the
open
amendment.
until 10 days after.
Does the motion include?
No, that was her original
Yeah,
motion.
but I'm asking, you said to secure our walk-in absentee ballots in a separate
Locked, sealed box.
locked, sealed box.
Yes.
Is
Not to be open,
Locked and sealed.
not to be open until 10 days after.
No.
That's what the motion was.
On the original.
That was the original motion. Ready for the amendment?
So the separate, okay.
Yes, separate, locked,
Separate,
sealed.
and the separate lock box is not the blue box. That's
No,
it.
no, separate lock box.
I just want to make it clear.
Yes.
danger.
And now, ready for the amendment? It's been properly moved, amended, that motion has been properly amended by Mr. Ross's amendment
Let's
to,
move
yeah,
seconded by
Mr. Webster, objected to by you and, Member Ryder. And it's been now amended by Member Ross that the language after 10 days be changed to within 10 days, or after the election, after election day.
so open.
After that, the box be opened after election day. And that's been seconded by Member Blood. After the election day. After the election day, didn't specify what day. Within it. After the election day.
So we open after the election day.
In other words, that'll give you the discretion. Yes. Okay, and then we go to roll call on the amendment.
There was an objection.
So,
Mr. Ross's amendment.
yeah, but it's an amendment, it's a motion to amend it, maybe we go into it. Once you don't even have an objection, you vote it up or down.
Who seconded?
Bellado seconded.
She seconded.
Yeah, no, well, okay, well, then we vote on the objection. We voted on the motion, the amended.
I need to put my objection.
If in fact,
I put it in my record.
okay, put your objection on the record. 1 minute.
Because I don't want you to tell me all the time.
Okay, 1 minute.
I don't want to have to announce a motion to extend the time.
Okay, 1 minute.
What I'm saying is something. What's the time?
Did Mr. Ross object to Mr. Ross' motion?
Mr. Ross.
Yeah.
We need to clarify what the statute, because Mr. Delano said.
When you say the statute?
The statute as it relates to counting of absentee ballots.
Okay,
It appears.
we'll get to that.
Can I finish, ma'am?
Yes. You're asking a question, you need to do that, then we'll get to it. I do intend to do that. We'll have a clarification on the statute so that we can, before we vote on the main motion.
Can I go ahead now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm taking up 30 seconds later.
Take my time. I don't know where the guy stay here.
Other people have something.
You see that a game is playing? We listen to him. We have to be clear. I don't know what I tell us that everybody want to tell me stuff that. You can't just set time on the trail when you want to. I don't want to make a motion the way you last the time you don't want to hear that. I'm saying, Mr. Waddington, we are discussing an amendment from Ms. O'Neill that we don't do anything and put these boxes in a separate ballot box, sealed, and in compliance with counting absentee ballot. Mr. Ross is amending that to say 10 days within after the election, which is the right day according to absentee ballot counting. So Mr. Ross can explain what he wants to do with the time to count the ballot that Mr. Delano says he wants to put in this box as counting on the rules and laws of absentee voting.
Before we go to the vote on the, well, let's vote. Let's go to the vote on amendment. You want the clarification? Okay. Attorney Salisbury, could you give the members some information in terms of what the statute tells us now about absentee voting and when they should be counted and how they should be counted?
Title 18, Section 666 and 667 are extraordinarily specific as to how absentee ballots are to be counted, and to my knowledge have not been amended since we got the new machines. Therefore, as you've already talked about, the absentee voter can mail in or walk in, and those votes have to be received within 10 days after the election. That is section 665. 666 is examination of the ballots, and like I said, it's very specific. There is certainly no mention of inserting it in the machine because that wasn't possible when these were written. It talks about the affidavit appearing on the envelope, that someone has to review that, making sure that's properly executed, the mailing envelope being reviewed, all such envelopes being received by the board and delivered to the supervisor, retained by him, unopened. Retained by the supervisor, unopened, until as permitted by law, the ballots cast at the election are destroyed, at which time the envelope shall be destroyed. Well, in other words, implying that you don't count them until after the election. 667 is very similar. At the close of the polls, remove the ballots from the file referred to. In other words, file, box, whatever you end up putting them in. That's when you remove the ballot envelopes. It even talks about them being placed in a ballot box and shaken, and the ballots mixed. I think to then put them in the machine would not be a huge variation, but the gist of the law is that what I think is relevant to your discussion now is that the ballots, according to the code, are supposed to be counted after the election by board members.
All right. Roll call on the motion as amended.
Could you restate the complete amendment, Mr. Ross?
Mr. Ross, amendment is clear.
It's not clear to me in comparison to what you just said.
Okay, he says after the election. After the election.
Could you
That's
just
what he
restate
said.
the motion, please, Mr. Ross?
That the,
Go ahead, go ahead.
that the ballots in question be counted after election day.
All right, there we go. After. Counting.
After the box,
After.
I thought you said about, for the box to be open after the
That's
election.
what I hear.
The back,
Open. Counting.
open after election day.
To be counted.
To be counted.
Okay. Okay, and after that, we'll have the roll call on the motion as amended.
Amendment.
Proper.
Kind of late.
Proper.
We need to
Roll
check.
call on the amendment.
As amended.
Harris Schulte, absent. Harry Daniels?
Yes.
Claudia Georges, absent. Lydia Hendricks, absent. Wilma Monsanto?
No.
Arturo Wagner?
Yes.
Alicia Wells, absent. Liliana Valado?
Yes.
Adele McBride? Lisa Harris Moorhead, absent. Willard Mulliner, absent. Rupert Ross? Glenn Webster?
Yes.
Bernard Williams, no. Mr. Chair, 6 yeas, 1 nay, 6 absent.
It's passed.
Amendment, that's the amendment.
The amendment is passed. I mean, the amendment is passed. The amendment is passed. The amendment to Member Belado's motion is passed. Roll call on the motion as amended.
Correction on the, I think it's 2 noes. I said 1, but it's 2.
Who's the second one?
Monsanto.
And who's the first?
Monsanto is the first time. I said it.
Oh, you second.
Yeah. Okay, roll call on the amended motion.
Roll call on the amended motion.
On the amended motion.
Excuse me, please, so that we can get the same here. Roll call on the motion as amended. Roll call.
And the amended motion is to secure all walk-in absentee ballots in a separate lock and seal box to be open after the election to be counted.
Yes.
That's the what we're voting on, right?
Yes.
Election day.
Election day.
After?
Election day.
The day,
Day.
not after election.
Actually, election day. Day. Like after August 2nd and after November 4th.
The polls closed.
Yeah, after the day, that's all. I know.
I need to record this
Don't worry.
accurately.
Yes, we can.
So the amended motion, and please correct me, to secure all walk-in absentee ballots in a separate lock and seal box to be opened
And counted
and counted
after election day.
And the lawman.
Then we'll ask you.
where you going?
Then we'll ask you.
And counted.
Okay. Roll call.
That's an amendment.
Hold on, let me see. This is,
Bring that by.
Shelton, absent. Harry Daniels,
Yes.
Claudia Georges, absent. Lydia Hendricks, absent. Wilma Marsh Monsanto,
Underscore lock and seal, yes.
Arturo Wagner,
Yes.
Alicia Wells, absent. Liliana Valado, O'Neill,
Yes.
Adele Brand,
No.
Lisa Harris Moorhead, absent. Roland Mulliner, absent. Rupert Ross,
Yeah.
Glenn Webster,
Yeah.
Raymond Williams, no. 6 yeas, 3 nays. No, 2 nays. 2 nays, Mr. Chair.
All right, the
Wait a minute.
motion has passed.
Wait a minute.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bryan.
Are we now to understand that these were killer absentee ballots that took place on island when it was none? This is the procedure we used to do, right?
Excuse me?
He's smiling. Is that what you're laughing?
No, not laughing. I didn't.
I just want to make sure that we understand what we just did. We're saying with this motion that Mr. Neal and Mr. Ross made that was amended, we are saying that the absentee ballot from the district here, in other words, people who voted absentee on the island, is the day that you will count these after the polls are closed. The other absentee ballot that comes in from our island is another point in time, right?
We have already adopted that procedure. We adopted on our May 19th meeting that the procedures would be similar to what we did in the prior election. The only ones we addressed today was the walk-in absentee.
That's what I'm saying. I just want to make sure that we understand what's going on.
All right.
Because I know that there are 2 types of absentee ballot we're talking about. Those that come in the island and those that come overseas.
And we've already adopted how we handle those. Mr. Williams?
Mr. Chair, I think the motion has been passed, amended and passed. My question still, point of inquiry.
Right.
Again, to Member Milano. The process, your motion simply spoke to securing and when we count them.
Walk-ins.
Walk-in. My greater question is, what is the process for voting? Are we going to have people come into the office at a determined time? The staff or the election official is going to verify that they're so eligible to vote. They're going to be given the paper instrument. They're going to mark it, and then are we putting it into a box?
It is secured. It is secured as stated by law. It will be secured the same way.
Okay, all right, thank you. That's all I want.
It's secured the same way. Because remember, people will forgetting one thing. When you vote absentee, a candidate has a right to be there to challenge any absentee voter. And the only way you'll be able to do it is by the affidavit and that person's identity being known. Once you don't do that and the ballots are then mixed up, they are ready to be counted. So the statute is clear and our procedure is very clear.
So the other comments I want to tell Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
What is this walk-in or the voting absentee ballot? Let me finish now, shake your hand.
Well, you have no all the voting, ain't gonna all the voting.
Well, let's follow what we can continue with election anyway. Whatever word you want to use, this ballot that we use it to vote, according to the motion was just passed. This ballot just going in a box or is going in an envelope?
It's going in an envelope. And then it going in the
But that's not the, I didn't say so in the motion.
But it doesn't have to say that because the law spells it out. The law spells it out.
This is the motion and procedure we adopted.
We adopted the proper motion. It's according to law. We have our record as to what the law tells us we're supposed to do.
We say put the ballot in a box. That's how you say it.
All right, we understand it's an envelope.
No problem. We know the balance can. Mr. Ross, you trying to say something?
Barely a bin.
With an affidavit and everything.
Well, again, 666 tells us that all what goes into someone executing a walk-in absentee. They have affidavit, they have envelopes, so basically when we say put in a box, we're talking about a ballot and an envelope and an affidavit goes in a box. Now the ballot by itself.
Correct.
That is your intention.
That's what the law says.
That's what the last, we said, but the motion was written right, so. That's what the motion said.
Senator, I mean, my motion was based on what the law says.
I thought Ms. Ballard, I think we're clear. We got it.
Once once the box is open, based on the decision that we have made, those ballots will be read on the DS 200.
Correct.
I just wanted to.
Correct. That's our voting procedure. That's our tabulating procedure.
The ballots will be read on the DS 200.
Yeah.
Once the ballots are open.
Yeah, Mr.
I'm not trying to prolong the argument, but I think there's enough people here that we need to assure, because
the only way we counting ballots by DS 200.
I
But I think that's a foregone conclusion that we have adopted that we're counting by.
I'm sure, man. I don't want to move the agenda to another item, but that's not a foregone conclusion, because the Inspector General report speaks clearly to all those inequities that took place. So my thing here, I'm looking at us carrying the process forward. It is a process by which every board member has exercised its right. I don't agree with it, because I still believe that if we move it forward, we're using new voting systems. The systems are designed to secure and do everything we're saying right now. So why are we taking, you talk about, about opening the opportunity for supposed private corruption. And for the record, that was nonsense. But moreover, we could have done that right in that one instrument.
That's right.
And it would have been even more secure. There was no opportunity for any of those things to happen. But now I think we're now taking it to an additional step to secure it through another process, yes, that can be manipulated. But that's just my question.
Wait, hold on. Let's keep, we need to move to our agenda. Point of information. I have a question.
The new system.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman,
Then change the law.
please put a minute.
No, I'm talking to.
Hold on, Mr. Charles, please.
Change the law.
Under the same section 666, if you follow the law, when we are counting these absentee ballots that we are just amending here, the public must know, or the poll watchers must know that they can be present when you're counting the ballot. You just can't count them in the absence of the watchers.
Good.
So I'm saying we need to make this thing clear to the people. We can't just sit down here and believe that someone else knows and someone's going on to change something because it's something nice. Because when we count in these absentee ballots after the polls are closed, watchers by law have to do them. Am I wrong, already?
Correct. Your poll watchers have poll watchers do get, in fact, a certificate, and they have the authority to watch every ballot counting, including the opening of absentee ballot envelopes.
Because we have just adopted a new policy.
It's not a new policy.
Let's go over.
It's not a new policy. It's the exact same policy that we've had and we've utilized throughout the years.
You put in another box in the first.
It has always been in a locked seal box.
Which is
We're using a system that is different.
How we doing the system that we're differently using is that we're voting on paper. That's the different system that we use.
And we're adopting a policy within the next system that we're adopting.
Okay, can we move on, please?
Anything you want to do?
Move on.
Our next item, Mr. Williams, you're the one who was basically, the provisional procedure, we adopted the provisional procedure as usual. Yes. Okay, well, I supervisor.
Let me just refresh.
Yeah.
We had already, when we met in the original meeting, the items and this list, we have removed items 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and also item number 16. So we went back to addressing the process for the walk-in voting. We had already made a motion to deal with the provisional ballots, vaccine, and all of that. Okay, design and the other vaccine. So the next item.
Audit. The next item would be the audit.
Yes.
Design and layout.
The next item,
That's our
audit.
district.
What about the sample ballot?
Yeah, we're gonna deal with that. That's the other item. That's not in the procedure. The other item is the audit by the board. Ms. Foster, you want to speak to that?
Yes, again, based on ESLS and talking to the other states, they're recommending that the board or members of the board conduct an audit. And so the board has to set up what they would like to do an audit after, so it could be in policy and procedure. And what that is, you take a polling place and that's a sample where you either going to test the ballots in the back, ballots in the back, against the jump drive, against the tape. So you do one in each district so the public are comfortable with our new system. It's not the auditing process of the machine.
And
policies and procedures.
Yeah.
But you're saying that we do what now?
one polling place.
With election.
The board, after the election is completed, you set in a date and policy or you're going to do that, does an audit. So you decide you're going to take the treat systems and the machine, the tape, the jump drive, because the first election night you only utilize the jump drive.
Right.
So to appease or conduct the total program, you want to check the jump drive against the tape and the balance in the back. So each district will take a polling place, whatever sample they would like.
Take whatever.
Motion.
Yes, Mr. Williams.
Motion.
Yes, with
Yes. So basically, you're talking about post-election audit.
Yes, yes. That's why I said the board will set the date and time when they want to do it. But you need to make it a policy. So we're trying to create policies that the public will know these are our policies that we should move with forward.
Point of information.
Yes, Mr. Williams. Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Fox, what happens if you find that audit should demonstrate that there's a flaw?
Well, then we'll have to recount, and that's when you go
You can't get entire election?
No.
I'm saying you're doing an audit by using one polling place, okay? What if you find that there's a flaw? That, I mean, you know, how do you want to convince the public that all is well? But what if you find a flaw? Do you keep it silent? Do you bury it? Do you share it?
But that's the same thing. But it's the same thing as we do right now.
What do you do though? What do you do?
When you do the certification, sometimes you have a spoiled ballot or you account for some ballots that may not have been accounted for at the time you counted the first night. So there's a process in place. So you're going to check now based on the ballots that went out, the ballots that are spoiled, the ballots that are returned. You're going to check all of those processes to make sure the number comes up accurately. If not, then it goes up to the chair and we discuss how we could fix that problem for the number of ballots that may not, be accurate.
All right. Meg, first, before your motion, I'd like to say something. Generally speaking, there are states that allow for 0.5% error. Many of the states set a percentage of the ballots in this election district that you want to audit. Some is 3%. Most places are 3%. That you only get to you count 3% on your district to see if you have any error, and the margin of error that is acceptable is 0.5% or 0.5% of the entire vote cast. That's all. Yes, sir.
I would like to move a motion that within 10 days after the election final tabulation from absentee ballot, that we divide the audit into 3 major polling places, one yes 200 in each polling place. In other words, if we have a Christian set on the island and a Federation district, we take one and one and do the audit comparison. So
10 days after?
Yeah.
10 days after?
No.
After the final.
No, that's too short.
That's what you
I think to hear.
because basically you only solidify the total result after you count absentee ballot.
So you said that's an audit be done 10 days after certification?
Within.
Wait. The motion. Anybody second the motion?
Second and object.
No. You can't do both. You can't do both. You second it?
Second for
I object.
purpose of discussion.
I object.
Okay, let me,
Go ahead.
the motion item. Remember, right, the motion
Let
next
me tell you what I'm suggesting, Mr. Williams.
Just give the motion now, rather than the explanation.
If you let me explain.
No, give him the motion. You want the motion. You don't want the explanation. Give him the motion. You stay out of meeting. Please. Give him the motion so you can write down the motion that he's making.
Mr. Williams, the motion is that within 10 days after the certification of the whole result of the election, that we select one of east, west, and central to do that independent audit of the system. That was my motion basically.
Thank you.
If you want us to confidence in what we did,
I have a point of clarification.
Hold on.
The 10 days after the certification, the vote conduct.
What's your point? Point of what?
Clarification.
And to who and what?
To Member Brian, through the chair.
Okay.
My point of clarification is that the supervisor was speaking about a post, and he's speaking about 3. So I need to know which one you want. The supervisor.
You have a motion. You second
he
it.
said, you use the word post-election.
You second the motion.
Right, post.
Okay, I
Post-election
object.
means after the certification.
Can I take a minute to give my objection, please, and then we can move on and vote? I objected, and I don't know why you guys continue to want to interfere, Ms. Moyer and this gentleman. Stop interfering in the meeting. Please, you are not a part of the board. We can speak if we ask for public comment. Please, stop interfering. Stop interfering, please.
Let's move on.
I object because clearly Senator Bryan's motion is district-based, number 1. And number two, the 10 days after the election, after the sort, is too soon. There's nothing, we have so many other things that we would be doing. 10 days after we finish counting, you will start and go and do an audit. After the certification, you certify the election 10 days after on the 11th day. So you're talking about doing it 10 days right after that, rather than in fact getting everything together. And I think that is very too soon. That is very soon, and I believe the audit, if we can do it by district, it should be done by the district. Let us say we shall do it within 60 days after the election, and let the district decide what is most practical. Some of us may not be available, some of you may be available. Let the district decide within a 60-day period when in fact it will be conducted. All we need to do is check a time to do it after the election. 10 days, where is the rush? Where is it? That's my objection.
So you want to amend the motion?
No, I'm not going to amend the motion and vote against it. Yes, sir. You got 2 minutes. I had 1.
People take a most of it. If we agree that my suggestion is a district situation, we can adjust the district. But nobody can convince me that within 10 days after we certify election, the whole 40-member board can take a day in their district to show post, and that's what must do. I mean, the post, you mean, after the certification. That's why I understand you mean post me. All I said, I use the word after the certification, to mean the same thing. I'm simply saying, if it comes to the district, and we draw a motion, and then we wait until we have a district, we can adjust it. Because I don't want to go back and forth with Paul and Martin or something. If we want to keep and take the lead and doing something, we'll do. If it's a territorial decision, let's take it out to be a district decision. I don't have no problem with it.
Ms. Fox, you like to?
I'm just saying the timeline should be the same across the territory. Now, what you're saying, what areas you want to inspect, that's up to the district. But we need to set the timeline, whether it's 30 days, so you only need to track out the number of days and come up with a consensus. But the dates need to be in a policy that we're doing an audit and it's going to be done 30 days after the election, 60 days, whatever. That's what I want to be. That's what this requires. So you vote on a day and you come up with a date.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah. You want to comment?
Yeah, because I'm still, what we're talking about the post audit, the audit post election. The motion is to conduct it 10 days.
10 days after certification.
Within 10 days after the certification. And it also speaks to conduct the audits of 3 polling precincts.
One system from each poll, because you may have two.
Well, because some of you referring to primary.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I know that's your right, but just so everybody can understand what we're saying. Because I think what the member is speaking to is the determinations that were made for this district, for the primary, the amount of locations we're gonna be using. And his point, if I'm not mistaken, is to use from, split up the island in three, and get a good sample.
That's why I was saying this is big, but let me ask you, Ms. Fox something. Ms. Fox, clarify for us, please, before we vote on this. Were you talking, we're talking about general election, is that true? Or are we talking about primary?
I'm talking about vote.
We are saying that we're going to add it.
Well, it's up to the board to recommend what you want to recommend.
What are you suggesting? What are you asking? You're asking to add it on both the primary and the general.
I'm saying you could do this first time, and then when you see what comes out, then you don't do it again. But I'm saying when I vote, whether it needs to vote.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Ready? Roll call and the motion.
Did he already do?
He said 10.
Within 10 days.
Within 10 days.
10 days.
Yeah, within 10 days. That's his motion.
Of 3 will increase it.
Yes.
That's right.
Within each district.
Before we go to the vote, roll call, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Roland Molina at 12 noon. Maybe we are the roll call.
Take up the phone, Molina.
We are the roll call.
I just want to clarify the reason Mr. Molina got here late. We had a machine demonstration this morning, Christian said, and we had to build the machine with Mr.
Okay.
Terrell to pick up the people from St. Thomas and come back and move the machine, so you will leave here in time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Roll call.
No, but I want to break up the
We do that.
Lawrence Michelle, absent. Harry Daniels. Clara George is absent. Lydia Hendricks, absent. Wilma Monsanto.
Yes.
Tora Washington.
No.
Alicia Wells, absent. Liliana Bellado.
Yes.
Adelma Brennan.
Yeah.
Isaris Moorhead, absent. Roland Molina.
Yes.
Ruben Ross.
No.
Glenn Webster.
No.
Raymond Williams.
That's when you can take 90 days after, they do that 10 days after.
I have seen that. Okay, still in here. Mr. Chair, you got four yeas, 4 nays.
Motion is lost. 10-minute recess.
On this damn thing, make it transparent.
No, it's not because you don't understand. You understand No. I think it's so you understand.
You're taking a sample from 90 days.
You don't know why I understand. Let me tell you that right now, okay? You never understand. You don't know nothing why I understand. So you don't be talking nothing about it.
I have the right to do that. But you didn't understand and you don't understand. That's how I feel. And I have the right to that. Look at it.
Don't talk to me.
No, you're in everything.
That's what I'm saying. I can always be that way. I will be me.
The keys, even the
Chica, you.
No, you only have 2 people from the district.
Gracias.
You don't have a quorum.
If you know Robert rules, it says that unless you know we just don't, you can continue to do this. What the rest of it, you got about that?
Who mean nobody else?
We got excuse me, I'm trying to do a roll call.
Thank you.
Lydia Hendricks, absent. Wilma Monsanto.
Present.
Arturo Waddington.
President.
Alicia Wells, absent. Lillian Malaro.
Present.
Adolfo Bryan.
Here.
Lisa Moyet, absent. Roland Molinar. Here. Rupert Ross. Here. Glenn Webster. Absent. Rena Williams. Present. 8 present, 1 absent.
Okay, we have a quorum, 3 members from St. Thomas and a majority from St. Croix. Mr. Ross?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Ross.
Mr. Chair, I move that the post-election audit be conducted within 30 days after the certification.
Second.
It's properly moved and seconded by Mr. Daniel. Any objections? Hearing none, so ordered.
Question,
Yes, sir.
does he know the territorial?
The district have to audit, they have to do the audit. Can't be territorial. They don't have anything to territorial.
So within 20 days, so
30
it can't go
days.
beyond 30 days.
30 days, within 30 days, after the
You
certification.
know, this stuff.
But, and I just want to bring the conversation full circle because
People were sitting in the office.
excuse me, the initial motion that was to use by district 3 polling places, that was not a part of this.
No, no, 30 days we do our audit.
Districts.
We decided how we can do it. And we coordinated through the supervisors so that we get it done.
The district, the one, polling.
Okay, I think that's it. Runoff election policy, that's something else that we need to discuss.
Yeah, the issue with that was based on the federal mandate and consent decree, and not only us in this position, but if we do foresee a delegate runoff race in November, by the time we have the date for the runoff, we won't be able to get the ballots out in that 45-day window. So we have to develop a policy saying what we will try to do or what we can do, and I'm trying to talk to other states to see what policies they have, so we could get some ideas of what the best way to address it. We have to present a policy to the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Mr. Ross?
Point of inquiry to the supervisor, to the chair.
Yes, sir.
The policy that you must present, is it by a certain time?
Yes, it is.
By what?
I would have to talk to Attorney Jacobs again.
Well, in absence of a definitive answer, since this applies to the general election, I was going to move that we defer action on this until the next general board meeting.
That's a motion?
That's a motion.
Second. Mr. Ryan, 2 minutes?
The reason is this policy for the runoff election have a deadline to be submitted to the Department of Justice, because the Justice Department has specific requirements that already had been involved in extension to comply. Until we show what date it is, the thing will start
I'm going to check with Attorney Jacobs and I'll get back to the board. So even if I bring to the next board meeting for each district, or send an email, I'll let you know. I'll check with her today.
Because the last time they had extension, they denied them, and I don't want to get caught up in them, wait until last minute for them to make application for extension. So I don't think Mr. Tony Salbury has that information, so you will get it
Yeah, Attorney
for the
Jacobs.
next district, for the joint.
But I will send it up to the district to the exact timeline before the next joint, which may be September. So that's what I'm saying, I will get it, the suspenses before that, then we have to.
So you then would make it available to Mr. Waddington
So everybody will need to.
or Mrs.
Well.
Wells, Mrs. Kamba,
Everybody will know,
and myself.
that's right.
Mr.
I
Ross?
need to copy all the board members who are here, please. Thanks.
Mr. Ross?
Okay, to expedite, at least in my vantage point, to expedite the process, my motion is not inconsistent with the discussion. If the Justice Department decided that we need to respond in 1 month, then the board would have a board meeting and make the policy before the month is up.
The joint board.
The joint board. We don't have to wait until September for a regular meeting. So that's why I was asking the question up front. It really doesn't matter to me what the Justice Department deadline is. Only that this board meet that deadline by establishing the policy. We don't do it today.
I think what the problem was concerned was a timetable for review of particular compliance in the past.
The motion is to defer the item of the runoff policy until a later date. Roll call. Yeah, the runoff election policy for a later date.
Mr. Shirley, absent. Harry Daniels. Clyde George is absent. Lydia Hendricks absent. William Monsanto.
Not voted.
Arturo Washington.
Yes.
Alicia Wells absent. Liliana Gallardo, Daniel.
Yes.
Deborah Brand.
Yeah.
Lisa Harris Moore is absent. Roland Mulliner.
Yes.
Doug Ross. Glenn Webster. Absent.
I gotta go home, I got something, I have to go home.
Mr. Chair, 6 yeas, 2 abstain.
The motion passes. That, I believe, concludes the items that we... I'm sorry, we have one other item.
I have a question, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
In conjunction with what Mr. Ross and we just discussed, if in fact this is facts give the information for us, this would, this is fact, you say you're going to get it to us.
I'm gonna call her this afternoon.
Okay.
We'll email her.
Depends on how soon the deadline is. We have to know among ourselves to at least take a joint board meeting to address the concern, the policies concerned, to get in and out what they recommended. So I want to be sure after we get the information from Mrs. Fax, we don't wait until 2 months later to convene a joint board meeting or a month. So we didn't set a date certain to convene this joint board meeting. So then at the call of the chairman of the joint board, we'll have to notify them of this particular meeting, a special meeting, or just a regular joint meeting. That would be considered a special meeting.
Yes, special emergency, madam, yeah.
Special.
All right, so.
And if we discussed it by law, we will eventually have video teleconferencing opportunity. That's fast, so then we might not have to come back together. So all of those things.
We don't need a motion for that. No. Okay, good.
The other item was the recall. Ms. Fox. Recall, yeah, the result had recall. I know she has to
The document is initiative petition.
The two of them together.
Well, the initiative petition referendum recall. Yes, Ms. Fox, that's something that you...
What we're talking about is getting the tables in the Organic Act, but when you send the common voter to the Organic Act, it takes whatever explanation. So it's also recommended to be supervised on policy. We got most of the basics from the policy, but looking at some other states, they have some timelines, and so we want to propose and put some timelines in the policy, so folks have some guidelines and also the numbers calculated for them, whether 4%, 1%, so they know examples of how it's calculated and how it's done. Also in some states there's a fee because it's a cost to the agency for the number of signatures you have to review, so that's something we can look at in our years, but again our fees has been the same for a number of years, but some areas we got no fees, and this is a way where the system can, for the manpower that's required to do all those signature verification for initial petition. But even if, the example we have here is to get ready for the November election, the timetable was May 1st would have been the deadline for requesting advance information of the referendum. So I'm just saying these are the timelines we're going to put in our policy so folks know it takes time folks don't come up with a petition just a month before, because it has to go to the Attorney General office for sufficiency, has to be a yes/no question, exactly, then it comes back to the board. So all that process, we're trying to put in a policy, so folks go on the website and look at a one-stop shopping with the timelines, because the timelines is not in any of our, neither the Organic Act nor the Title 18. So I'm going to propose, I'm going to draft it up, bring it forward, but again, most folks usually say it's in Organic Act. Those days are gone. We need to put stuff that we could read and understand and how to account for the numbers that they need, percentage of the voters calculation. Some states have policies that's very detailed, and all the forms they're required to fill out, etc. Because we have some folks asking about petitions or the right word in the past. We even have a gentleman from the state calling in about initiatives, so we're trying to give them a timeline so they know when they could submit their requirements by.
I have a concern that I wonder if it's something that, even though it's on our items for policies and process and procedure, whether or not it's really applicable for us, given that we are now a few days away from our deadlines for our ballots.
Because this is not for now, no.
Okay. All right.
So
you would prefer that we defer the discussion on that?
That's fine.
All right. Any objections? Hearing none, we'll defer any further discussion on that until we get past this election cycle. Since no one of these items will be coming up between now and then.
Well, the general, they might, but not for the primary.
Well, the only thing that can come up is something that was mandated by the legislature, and then we have no choice. If they put something on the ballot.
Well,
I don't know if they can at this point, since it's within 6 months of the
Well, I'll tell
election.
you one that came up to us at the beginning of the year, the one about the AG, whether they want to vote for him or you should be elected.
But
I'm just saying, the requirement came to us, the person wanted to do an initiative, and so we have to give them the process. So it may come up for November, and this other gentleman that's calling from the States have another one about when you have voting instead of the behest deal, where they have to go to St. Thomas, as the capital. These are things that are coming up as initiatives. So I'm saying we are getting the requirements, and we have to give them a timeline that if they want to meet November, they need to get certain things in, because they can't wait 30 days before an initiative is going to pop up on the ballot. So that's what I'm talking about. But you have time now, but I just wanted to know the consensus of the board, because a lot of folks like to say it's in the Organic Act, but the Joe Blow on the street is not going to the Organic Act. So I'm coming up with a policy and procedure with a timeline that they could get certain things in. And if we were looking at November, they would already be behind, because May was a timeline to submit certain things.
There was one item that I neglected, and it's up to the board as to how you want to handle it. Spokesperson for the board, and which board are we referring to?
Well, again,
That's a district issue. I really dealt with that at our last original meeting. Those are district issues.
What about joint board?
The chairman.
That needs to be
You know what I'm saying? Because it just says spokesperson for the board. So my question to Ms. Fox, or who drafted that?
I did.
She grabbed it.
So I bring all this up because we have no
But the person
policy.
that speaks for the
Right.
boards is the chairman. So the chairman is Alicia Oliver.
But she has to designate folks if she is not available and she's not there.
We have the process of nomination is the chair, the vice chair, the secretary. After that, then everyone will accept.
I mean, she brought up, I think it's a valid point, because are we saying, well, because I would say some things have come up
Exactly.
that I want to discuss privately when we're in an executive session, because there have been made some representations made that people are in fact speaking for the board in terms of some representation that senators have made very public, that this person tell them this and this person tell them that. So it is something that we may need to discuss and if in fact it is a situation wherein the chairman or in fact any other person speak for the board as designated by the chairman of joint boards and vice versa. It may be that we need to, if it's a policy for the joint board, then maybe we need to write it down that the chairman of the joint board makes representation on behalf of the joint board. It's up to the membership how you want to handle it.
Wait a minute, inquiry.
Yes, Mr. Right.
I think each elected member have a voice to express their personal opinion.
Right.
But then one individual with a senator post information said that, let's say, board brand, board member said this. First thing would remind me that we know people that vote no more than nobody else. Because something you don't find chairpersons on many boards. And in the legislature, you have a majority leader. And sometimes majority don't speak for nobody but yourself, and vice versa. And when it's appropriate, spokesperson from their board withdraw themselves or can't come to speak when it's something comfortable. So if we ignore, we have chairperson of the board, and you have a joint chairman of the board, a chairperson of the board, that person can designate a member of the joint board to speak for the joint board. For each individual in the board will say what they want when they're ready. Every senator say what they want when they're ready.
I do agree in terms of everybody have a right to speak, but you speak for yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're elected to speak for yourself. I have one question that's not part of this checklist that I think is important that we need to discuss, and that is the item of test ballots.
Oh.
Test ballots. Test ballots. Well, take a test ballots.
ESNS talked about that.
Yeah, but Mr. Molina said he don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh, that's what you need to explain.
Okay? And we need to develop a policy about test ballots. ESNS may have discussed it, but I don't think we have developed any policy as to how and what are test ballots and how they're used. When Fox, you want to speak, right?
No, it was your New York experience. Go ahead. Who is it they go ahead. No, he got
It is my understanding that, and it should be something that we need to do. We have a new system of voting. Not new system of voting, new system of tabulating our votes. And you do that by, in fact, putting ballots through, written ballots through a machine. It is my understanding that when we test the machines, we have to have a certain amount of ballots to test. And it is, so in addition to our live ballots that we will be receiving from ESNS, sample ballots, we have to have test ballots. In other words, ballots that are stamped, test exactly like the live ballot, stamped text, voted upon, and it would be ideal if the candidates select themselves or whoever, and each person whose name appears on the ballot must go through each machine to make sure each machine is actually working properly. That is what is done other places, and these ballots are used specifically to test the operational functionability of your tabulators. So I don't know, I believe that the board, I mean, unless if you feel that it's not necessary, but in fact, I believe that we should establish a policy that we have test ballots that amount to the amount of machines that we're going to be using in each district times the amount of each personal candidate that's appearing on the ballot, no less than that amount, so that there would be an opportunity for 20, if there's 20 candidates on this ballot, 20 candidates, then we need 20 ballots to go through the 21 machines that we will be using in each ballot, no less than that amount.
This is certification, is that
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Well, Mr. Chair,
Right.
basically what the test balance functions are is that you have information similar to the absentee ballot, primary ballot, and the election ballot. The same information that is recorded on a test ballot is posted into all the same machine to demonstrate that the function of accordingly, the same error discovery, same tabulation recovery, the same printing screen, tabulation rows. It says ballot must be the same result when you scrum it through the automat and move it to the base 200. You can see the screen. If you mark it in a book or station, that will show the same results, but the screen shows you on the automat. So if there's a problem there, some consistency don't exist and have to check the
So the paper instrument goes through all of those machines and
Yeah.
just what?
Yeah, because you're dealing with a electronic cryptographic chip, and if there's a glitch in one of them, and you skip 2 or 3, that machine won't know what's really doing because it's only twice the function. So you must put the results out of each test on the same.
So all 20 machines must show the same
But,
result.
but right now, so what I'm suggesting is that we adopt a policy that we must have test ballots. In addition, the law requires us to have sample ballots, and that they be distributed. That's by law. But the law, our law, does not address that we must have test ballots for us to determine, and the amount of test ballots to determine. It would be determined by the amount of candidates times the amount of machines in each district. Because remember, there's going to be a difference in each district as to how many candidates there are, or how many candidates appear in each district. Mr. Ross and Mr. Fox.
We're required by law to test the machine.
Correct.
Can the machine be tested other than using a test ballot?
Yes.
Oh.
Not by putting a ballot in. No. We're talking ballots now. You're supposed to test the machine. But what I'm saying, we should make a distinction between a live ballot and a test ballot.
Correct.
But we don't have anything in law that suggests a test ballot, because we never had to do this by utilizing paper in a tabulator.
Because tested and certification and qualified to it.
Yeah, I'm not even certification.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And you're correct what you just said. The law said we're supposed to test, right? And when we're using another machine, the testing procedure for that machine was based on that machine. When we're using the DS200, the testing procedure is DS200, it has to be the testing ballot.
Yeah, but we don't have a procedure for testing.
Machines do it.
Okay?
We don't have a procedure for testing. What would be the procedure?
We require a testing ballot.
By doing what? And if this is because I'm purpose.
I have a problem with what you trying to achieve. I'm just surprised that we could test the machine without using
And also,
an instrument.
Maybe Ms. Barnes could clarify. Maybe Ms. Barnes.
Yes, that's correct. Because you are just getting to the part. Folks that did the programming, you see the voting technicians that we brought on to train earlier than one, that's what they were going through, and he is required to do it. He's testing of the ballots, but in addition to that, it's in our contract. They have it in the contract that they have to test the ballots. So it's in there, but again, we need a policy. I'll get to see how much we have to test, but it's different than just putting a paper in the machine. It's all the calibration, all the barcodes on the outside. So every machine has to be tested because it may not be calibrated right. You know, they have read this and read something. So everyone is in. So that's the instruction that the programmers got last month, and more detail. But I'll tell you what they require, the numbers, I think. And we do need a policy on it.
Yeah, Mr. Molina, then.
Listening to the supervisor, the testing is not being done by the board, right? We're just making the policy. You're saying the technicians are doing the actual testing.
They'll be doing testing, but the board members will be there. You're the one certifying. You're the one certifying.
The testing
The
for us there.
the physical part would be the technician.
That's correct. And
But
that's what I
when
have
we
to-
certify them, and I'm just trying to get it, will we be doing the same thing? Would the technician be involved in that aspect? That's what
When
I'm
you
asking.
certifying after the election?
When we certify
No,
the machine.
They'll be
Because
there
I'm-
also.
there's two different-
They're there all through. They'll be there.
Okay, so we just we have a policy
No,
for
we
the
don't.
certifying?
We don't.
Okay, so we have to make two policies. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, Ms. Monson.
Through the chair to Ms. Fox, what is the time frame of testing the machines just prior to the election? How many days prior to the election have you set in place?
Well, for this one has the 31st of July. That's for the testing by the board. Now, the testing that Washington is talking about have to be before that. So again, ES&S will be the one telling us. We haven't tried to call in here today, but she was to send her calendar. She has not. They're going through the same thing we're going through. Bad news yesterday. One of the persons that's supposed to come here no longer work for the company. So now we're regrouping to try to get another person. So we have two, one in St. Croix and one in St. Thomas. So that's their process, and that's why again the board member haven't heard that process. What Peter know because he went to New York. But that's the programmers and the voting technician. And ES&S is going to develop that test ballot. It's a requirement for both elections, the general, the primary, and the general.
So when you say test ballot, it's going to be the same ballot.
Yes.
It's just that we have to designate it as test ballot.
Correct.
Because and we have to designate the amount of test ballots, and it will be determined. All I'm suggesting is that we come up with a policy that we shall be required to have test ballots in the amount of the number of candidates times the amount of tabulators to be used in the election. In other words, each person's name has to go through each machine to determine that that machine properly records a vote for that person on the ballot.
Yes.
Well, a little farther from me. One, right? This is the Audemars. This is your name now, you're talking about, for whatever. This is the Audemars.
Right.
And this is the DS200. These are the two machines that we're talking about.
No.
What are you saying?
Only the DS200.
Okay, we're dealing with the DS200.
Because remember, that is the tabulator.
So now only one name for the test. In other words, you're gonna...
No, that's why I give you that.
Okay.
Look at that. That has thereupon maybe 20 names.
Okay.
So each name will go through each of the machines to be used in the district. In other words, that would consist of our test ballots that we would then have and said we have successfully tested, utilized these ballots, and have tested the machine to in fact that it functions.
Each machine.
Each machine with each candidate.
The machine, the ballot, test ballot, the ballot tested.
Yes.
I understand. But what I'm trying to get is how many times for one candidate? Once. Okay.
One in each machine.
Okay, that's like how you're saying times.
Yeah. Okay. Each candidate times each machine. That's clear, Mr. Gonzaga.
Yeah. Through the chair again to Ms. Fox. If we find that during the testing of the machines that something goes drastically wrong, God forbid, what recourse would we have?
Machine on what? That machine on
as
what?
it contains, as it pertains to the machine. What recourse?
What do you mean, drastically down with testing, with a machine?
Let's say, for instance, somebody pointed out that that with one of the ballots, if you pressed
that was a marked ballot, so we got to get from that concept.
If you press the card symbol.
No, that was the marked ballots that were designed.
Okay, but that has been addressed.
That has been addressed. But when they come to do the test, if you have a problem with a machine, or if the test doesn't calibrate, where they calibrate right, then they can do the changes from here back to the main office. That's number one. Number two, we have backup machines. So if a machine we find is not functional, you could pull that machine and then use another one. But usually, like he said, brand new machines, the amount of money we pay for them,
each machine would be tested on its own.
Yes, sir.
Okay, just going back to something that I read there. The ballot has 20 names on it.
Right.
You're saying that we're going to use 20 pieces of paper to run it through each 43 BS order voting systems.
I am suggesting that the board.
Do we mark them out at all?
I am suggesting that the board adopt a policy to mandate that we have an amount of test ballots that is determined by the amount of machines to be used in the election times the amount of candidates.
Can we do a sample of it, or do we have to do all the?
I am.
Because
it's not sample.
You have to test them.
Listen to what I said, sampling. I didn't say a sample ballot.
Well, when you say sample,
If there are 40 names on the ballot, can we use a number, proportionate number, instead of using all 40 names on the ballot?
And I
So
would say,
40 times 21.
and I am saying that we need to develop a policy that we have test ballot in an amount of the amount of candidates on the ballot times the amount of machines in the district.
And I heard it clear, but my question.
And I am saying no, not a sampling.
Okay, that's a no.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And that's about it. But it protects us. It protects us because it in fact shows that each name on the ballot because these are live ballots that we are testing, and we have these ballots to show, because people will say them ballots don't work. It don't work for Raymond Williams. It only work for Arturo Watt. But I mean, if you see, but remember now, if you put more than one name on a ballot, the machine does not tell you that immediately. It just tells you that in fact your vote has counted. So you want to do it for each person on each machine.
Everything else blank.
Yes. So that it's clear that number because if you do it with more than one name, you can't. The only way you can tell, you'll have to go back to the tape. You'll have to go back to the tape. Or go back to the drum drive to determine whether you'll have to actually do an audit. Yes, sir.
In addition to each candidate, where you have to check each symbol also, we're talking about an additional thing, because each symbol you have to check.
That would be for the general.
So that's a separate.
That would be for the general.
So that's another test.
Yeah, that would be for the general.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
What isn't really clear to some of the members, the machine, which is the DS400, that is what you're using to synchronize the recognition of the numbers on the candidates. Now, candidates from one to whatever party.
But I think
and we recognize from one to party.
I think that's going to be an issue that we have to discuss when we discuss.
So we stick to this one issue now?
Okay, okay.
Because the way the original code may refer to testing and the machine is a different testing that is required for what we're doing now. So that policy must entail the machine recognizing each candidate, whether it's number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, that is why they're asking to build up individually one person as opposed to putting all the candidates to test to certify that they're doing it.
And so this one, the paper that was through with one name and the
Raymond Williams.
Raymond Williams on there. If this is the ballot.
Yeah.
What is ballot?
So if you number 1.
This is the ballot, right?
Yeah.
My name appears right here on the ballot.
Yes, they put it in there.
They'll put it right here.
After anything.
Just me alone.
Right.
And then
They put it in there.
you, but we're not down here. They're going to put it down here as it will appear, and that facsimile of all ballots eventually. Well, it doesn't make a big difference what it needs to be. Yeah, no, but I'm saying, but they're going to put a name where it will appear on the ballot.
Right.
And that one.
That's what's supposed to happen.
Okay.
That's what it's a test.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if it would be in that specific.
Because the testing of the machine and the different code, as opposed to the certification machine, is two different things. The code requires 3 categories to certify the machine.
Yep.
That is what these ESNS people do for certification. The testing is an additional testing now, separate and apart from the statute talk about testing before election. So that's what they need that most part.
My only concern about the I think both of you probably have it on time, but like the supervisor was saying, I think in order to develop a policy, are we just going to develop a draft policy immediately or?
Yeah. That's why I'm suggesting you remember, we have two things that have to happen soon. We have to approve the ballots for the districts and the territorial positions, and so you'll know exactly how many people, how many candidates there are for each category, and then you know how much machines, we would know exactly how many machines we have.
So then, Mr. Chairman, the question Ms. Fox should be able to tell us is how soon before the primary election can the ESNS people come to explain to all the members what this test ballot function is about?
I don't know if you have to explain it.
They do.
They have to explain it.
No, I'm just smiling because the chair asked the same question. We sent an email to Ms. Alexa 2 days ago to pin down dates when she will be coming here. The chair asked me to do that, and she has not responded yet. I think most of you are aware there's a lot of primaries going on around in the states, and they're all over the place, and there's only 1 or 2 in the office. So again, I'm going to get the information. Last time she gave us months, now we want to pin down dates. And so we will be getting that. That's why
we have a contract.
We said, all she gave us is July, and for the poll workers is a week before, for the poll book is a month before. They gave us general information but no specific date. So Chair Watlington asked me 2 days ago to get specific date. I emailed her, I have not heard from her.
When they don't pay the salary,
exactly.
Mr. Molina?
Did EMS provide guidelines to the testing for their technicians? So
they
like
provided,
written,
not written, they went through some of the training with
so
them.
everything is verbal from ESNS?
No, they came here at the beginning of the month and they worked with those persons that we assigned to the training, so they may know more, and they had some handouts. They had handouts and they had tapes.
So there are written guidelines,
they might give you all the
procedures.
testing, but I'll look and see if there anything is particular to the testing and share that with the board. But they didn't leave
Like
anything.
electronically, because we could have some, whatever, how they put
I don't know, I wasn't in the training like I
The
said.
training was they think you just put jumping on.
They did a whole week, 4 days, so it's something you gotta go to.
Did it start like another halfway?
also training for us.
No, that was for the technicians. The technicians.
No, I thought they were coming back to give us training
Again,
on this particular thing.
Again, I think I would not like folks to just think about it, that we develop the policy that there must exist in each district a certain amount of test ballots that amounts to the amount of machines times the amount of candidates in each district, which appear on the ballot. And if we have to put it right in, then if we could do that as quickly as we can right after lunch, and then move to the review of the primary ballots, and so that we can get them out. And so on. I think the district ballots have to be approved in the district, but in terms of the federal election and the territorial election, we need to look at it and make sure that we have it. Ms. Fox, how much of them we have? Only one? Everybody have one?
Everybody have
the
in the folder.
In your folder?
4 sheets.
So you need to, huh?
Sample ballot.
The ballot, we can take a break now, and everybody have to look at the ballot and determine it with him and come up with, if you have some concerns. I do have some concerns.
I have a lot of concerns.
I have some concerns, so you need to look at them, and then we bring them up and try and wrap this up. Yes, sir.
Before we break for lunch, along the policies and procedures, I'll yield to the district chair and also, but in our last board meeting, we had a conversation, and the board had want to make a recommendation to the joint board. You want to speak to that? On the overvoting policy?
I think we discussed that.
Not in the district board, but not at the joint board. We never
did that.
No, we never.
What we were discussing, three attempts.
No, that's not overvoting. That was spoiled. That's spoiled.
Oh, no. What it was, I spoke to Mrs. Fatter a couple of days. She did talk to her.
No. Okay, let me say.
Is she talking about the buttons and the?
No. What I'm speaking about, what we voted on at our last district meeting is for the joint boards to adopt as a part of our policy that the machines are to be programmed so that they won't allow anyone to overvote. In a sense, they wouldn't allow for a single ballot.
Wait. How, when it was, hold on. I just need to ask a question. How can you stop somebody from marking 8 people if they could vote for, they could only vote for 7? How can you stop somebody from marking 8?
The same way we've done it for 25 years.
How?
And the Danaher machines.
Okay.
You could never
But what would happen? But what would happen?
The instruction.
Hold on. Tell me. Hold on. And what happened?
If you stop it from overvoting, you're guaranteeing that the elector is casting a good ballot, in essence. Okay? Why would we want, with the experiences we've had in the past, with 13% of the ballots cast in the general election of 2012 being spoiled, why would we want to create an opportunity to allow that to happen again when we can fix it through the program?
Wait, no. Remember what happens now. If I overvote, the machine kicks it back out and tell me I've overvoted.
It doesn't kick it out. It gives you an option to accept it or to reject it. It does not kick it out.
Hold on. It says you've overvoted.
It does not kick.
Wait. It says you've overvoted. What would you like to do? Cast your ballot as is, or correct the ballot?
That's what it does not.
Right. So what are you saying? First of all, let me acknowledge the presence of Vice Chair Lisa Moorhead, and we're going to take up about a few minutes. Yeah, a few minutes. We're going to take a break, and then you could take over.
No problem, and I apologize for that.
No problem. We understand the reason. What are you saying? I'm just trying to understand. You are saying that the machine should tell. How are you going to program the machine to do other than those two things?
If you submit, what we're recommending is that if I overvoted in a category of 7, you can't vote for no more than 7.
And I voted for 8.
And I selected 8.
Right.
Put it into the scanner.
Right.
It'll kick it back out and tell you overvoted. Listen, wait,
that's what you don't know.
That's what it does now. What it does now. But I'm saying the idea is to program it so it doesn't allow the choice.
Well, I got you. Wait, it doesn't allow the choice. And what happens?
It kicks back on the ballot and tell you that you overvoted. So it wouldn't allow you to cast an overvoted ballot.
In other categories.
You know something, Mr. Chairman? We don't take time to understand what the chair is saying. What Mr. Williams is saying, we've been discussing, Mr. Alexander and I have talked about it. Mr. Molina, we put information to Mrs. Fox. On the DS200, unlike the Atomark machine informs you by visually showing you what you're doing, and you can hear what you're doing. And it will tell you if you made a mistake, if you overvoted. If you go to a voting station, as the ballots were used for the map, it says select a party. If any one of us go there and realize without reading the instruction, if I'm a Republican, I will push the button for Republican to indicate that I'm a Republican registered voter. Therefore, when I go to the other section, let's assume that you have 7 Republicans and for the Senate race. If I go and vote for independent or Democratic or HCM person, when you put it in the machine, it doesn't tell you anything in the DS100, but it tells you on the Atomark. What we asking, and Mrs. Fox is trying to get it corrected, that they synchronize the program, that the same thing will tell you as it did on the Atomark, what you did, that you do it on the DS200. Because if you overvote, it tells you in categories, 2 categories that you overvoted in governor or delegate or cabinet. But then when you push the button in another party, automatically it casts a vote for the signal of the party, and you can write in all you want there. The vote will take away and only register with the single vote. And that's what I'm trying to get us to, because Alexander is right there, Mrs. Fox, we talked about this, she talked about.
Madam, Mohammed.
Yeah.
I have a question
Yes,
for
ma'am.
clarification from anybody who can answer. I hear what you're saying, and I've experienced voting on this machine. But with respect to, does the machine, the DS machine, does it actually count the vote for the party, or does it tell you that you've misvoted somehow?
No.
Just counts the vote for the party automatically and takes the vote?
Once you push the party's button,
That's it?
That's all.
discard any other vote from any section and only send the vote to the party's button. So the language and the thing will say select a party.
No, I get it. That's what you're saying. No,
But that is not.
And also,
That is two separate things. But one is describing as voting.
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah,
No, I
he's,
understand, you're talking about overvoting and he's talking, I just wanted to get clear, so not just me.
And in addition to the instruction for the party, section, and versus the candidates of a particular, we have not more than 7, not more than 2. Those things need to have clear instructions to tell the person, if you have not selected a party symbol, and a particular party does not have sufficient member of that category, you may select additional, but not more than the 7 of that category. That's the instruction that have to be put there, because if it coordinates reference to that, you're laughing.
No, I'm not laughing because in fact it's on the paper. You know, the ballot is there for you to read.
The ballot will finish it.
The ballot is there, and the ballot tells you can vote for no more than 7. And you're now saying this machine just tabulates what you put on paper. Now you're saying that you want the machine to be programmed to tell you that you didn't vote enough people.
not on the book.
What you just said. You just said that if you don't have enough people in the party, the ballot, the machines will tell you you can vote for more people. That's what you just said.
Not the machine, you said it's ballot, the ballot.
But the ballot is the paper. So the tabulator only tabulating what you put on paper.
Do we need a visual of
Not for me. Outside the meeting.
In that category, over.